Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. I thought we would do a video looking at the Battle Pass Season 5 challenges, basically giving you my tips on how I'm going to approach them. A lot of them are pretty simple, I'm not going to lie. A lot of these are self-explanatory, I think is the word to put them in. Generally, they're just going to take a lot of time to do, and luckily you get around about 3 weeks to be able to do them, so that should be plenty of time to do the vast majority of these. None of these are anything close to some of the Battle Pass challenges we've seen in the past, like get Survivor medals and things like that. They're much nicer in general to be able to do. So I think let's get started with the first one, which is Gluttonous Catfish. This one is destroy or help allied players destroy the specified number of player vehicles, and it's 250. So what that means is get kills and assists, and they need to total 250 kills. Over a 3-week period, if you're doing your dailies for the Battle Pass and maybe doing specials, you'll easily crack this. You know, it's really not a tough challenge to do. If it's 3 weeks, you're talking about 21 days, you're talking about getting like 11 to 12 kills a day. Generally, that's not going to be too hard. If you do it in something like Air Arcade, where you have generally more kills at mid-tiers, you know, if you want to get it done quickly, then you can do it through there. But normally, you're not going to worry too much about this one. This should be pretty simple. Just turn up and get kills, focus on your dailies, focus on other parts of the game, so like research or decals, and this will just fall in line. The next one is Dexterous Otter, and you need to receive the specified number of the streak stated, which is 20 professional awards. Now, professional is pretty much getting in a game and getting a certain amount of kills. I believe it's either 3 or 4, and every time you get a kill after that number, what ends up happening is you get a professional award. So let's say it's sat at 4, so if you get a 5, 6, 7 kill on top of that, you get 3 professional awards, and this can be over many vehicles. So if you're doing this, I would highly recommend doing it in either Ground Arcade, Air Arcade, or Ground Realistic, just because of the fact you'll have more opportunities to be able to get it. You won't just have one spawn. Getting professional in something like Air Realistic is a bit of a pain, because you have to get a certain amount of kills, and then on top of that, whereas in Ground and Air Arcade, you can get more kills per round, just because there's more respawns and more people to hit. So 20 professional awards is a little bit annoying. You might have to play some meta lineups for this. 4-3 Soviets comes to mind, which would be actually pretty good for this one, or maybe a standout vehicle. But generally what you're looking for is more of just a banger lineup that's going to be able to guarantee you kills. Maybe 7-3 Britain, 7-7 Britain, 7-3 Germany would be really good for this. 5-3 Germany would also be fantastic for this. You're just looking for stuff which trades really well and to focus on kills and not winning battles. When it comes to the professional ones, I was kind of worried about them in the past, but for me, while streaming and doing them, I've actually not had an issue being able to get the awards, so I'm pretty happy about that, but I understand that other people are going to have much limited time, so make sure to bring out the meta lineups, the ones that you're comfortable with, and make sure to aim for at least 5 kills a game. The next one is Nimble Water Snake, and this one is destroy the specified number of player vehicles of each type of ground vehicle. So tank, tank destroyer, and SPAA. And you need 7 vehicles each on this one. This one's kind of tricky, especially because a lot of the tank destroyers that people would bring out, they actually changed to light tanks a little while ago just to give them a little bit more of a use. So this has got to be done at mid-tiers, because even though you see a lot of SPAAs at top 10, a lot of tanks, so getting those two done, you don't really see any tank destroyers. So mid-tiers to, you know, rank 3, rank 4 is where the vast majority of useful tank destroyers are that people take out. So that's what I would target for it. It is only 7 vehicles, so we're not talking about, you know, breaking the bank. There's actually a special task where you need more SPG kills than that. So I don't think it's that bad. But yeah, you might have to play a few days grinding out, rank 3s, rank 4s, just to find enough tank destroyers. Remember, a lot of them are open-topped, stuff like the Breda, the M10, the Semaventes, so you can take them out with planes as well. So I'd probably go for something like a mid-tier American lineup here, something like 4-3, 4-7, maybe 3-7 if you can, just to try and find as many tank destroyers as you can to kill. Because the tanks and the SPAAs, that's just going to happen over time. When you finish a game, or when you're at the end of the game, a lot of people bring out SPAAs, especially stuff like Whirlwinds and Ostwinds, because, they want to shoot down planes. Whereas when it comes to tank destroyers, that's a lot limited in its use. So, yeah, mid-tiers is the way to go for that one. Then we've got Sharp-Eyed Osprey. This is destroy the specified number of ground and naval player vehicles using a strike aircraft. So you have to kill 20 vehicles. Now, in ground, this isn't too hard. I would highly recommend 5-7 for America. You have stuff like the 82s, 84s, the AM1s, stuff like that around there. It might even be 6-0, but they fit perfectly in those really good lineups for America. So you can bring them at like 6-3, 6-7. You can just bomb targets. It isn't, hard to do. So that would be the way I go for that. When it comes to naval, it's a little bit harder because at those BRs, you're talking about the really high echelons of naval. So it's much better to try and find stuff which is mid-tier. If this season challenge, you can do rank 2s with it. The A36 is a really good pick in Coastal, but I'm guessing you won't be able to. So other options are going to have to be a little bit higher with it. Maybe Do 335s could be one to go for. I'm pretty sure at least one of them is a strike aircraft. ME410B6R3, stuff like that. The ME410s in general you could maybe fit in, but generally you're looking at not a ton of options, unfortunately. A lot of the very prominent strike aircrafts are much higher BRs than in naval. There are just a few dotted around the place which could work, but mainly the most prevalent ones when it comes to naval are actually bombers, unfortunately. But you can still get it done, depending on what BR you are at naval. And generally, I've seen a lot of people complain about the fact that a lot of these tasks, or some of these tasks, you need, naval kills and things. Generally, at the end of the day, at this point, we're on the 5th battle pass. We should realize that naval grinding is going to be required. It's going to be part of it. Same with the events. So far, we've had 2 years of this stuff. Hopefully, instead of complaining, people can just grind out some rank 3 things and just go play them. It's not hard to do. Like it can take a few days, and that's really about it. If you want to get up to rank 3 in certain nations, depending on what tech tree you're going for. Just put in the time instead of complaining. Take all that time that you are complaining and put it into just, doing the little bit of grind that you need to do. Regal Anaconda, which is a great name for a season challenge, by the way. You have to play the specified number of battles whilst being ranked first in the team. So you need 7 battles over a 3-week period where you get first. It doesn't say they have to win, so you don't have to worry about that, at least from this thing. If you are really struggling with this challenge, like you struggle with getting first places, best thing to do is to get in something like an SP2C, ground pound, for an aerialistic game. Just go to the area of the map where most of the enemies are not going to be, or wait 5 minutes in the air while flying away from where the enemy generally comes, and then go and ground pound. And this will normally guarantee you first place in the team if you aren't as confident killing other players, or aren't as confident, trying to carry matches, or, doing a bunch of different vehicles in ground realistic. So that's the easy way of doing it. It's the way that, if you do like the monthly decals that they do in War Thunder, you can actually, most of these challenges are very similar to those, so you can kind of use them to practice doing the Battle Pass challenges. But yeah, that's the easiest way to do it if you struggle with, getting first places in general. The next one is destroy a specified number of player vehicles using a torpedo. This is Swift Eel, so you have to do this in naval forces. because they took away the bug from torpedoes where they acted as bombs for a little bit. That was kind of funny. You only need 10 kills with torpedoes over a 3-week period, so this isn't that much. There's plenty of vehicles with torpedoes, which are rank 3 and higher. Normally what I would say is it's best to try and hover around the 3.3 to 3.7 area if you can. Maybe go up to at most 4.3, because a lot of the early destroyers that are set around the place, they're big targets and they don't have a lot of AA on them. So being able to take them out is not too hard to do. It normally takes 1 or 2 torpedoes to sink them, depending on where you hit them. It also depends on how well the player knows how to survive, because a lot of destroyers die by sinking when they could have maybe survived if they, got the commands right on what to fix first. But generally, around 3.3 to 4.0. If you have any machines that are around there, hopefully they do include rank 2, as I said, in these things, because if they don't include rank 2 in these things, it's going to be a little bit annoying for the naval stuff, but still possible to do. There's plenty of vehicles with torpedoes. On the higher echelon, I suppose the AM1 is the one to go for, but yeah, you want to stick around those early destroyers. Basically, the biggest targets with the lightest amount of AA. It's a perfect combo for going for this challenge. The next one is a bit of a pain, but it's not hard. It's just based around the PT 7657, and it is the Nimble Kingfisher, and you need to win 35 battles in Soviet vehicles. 35 battles is no small amount. That's a pretty big amount of battles, but at least you can play air, you can play ground, you can play naval, you can play whatever you want. So you can pick and choose, you can switch up if you want. For me, I'd use this as a general grinding thing, so I would look at vehicles that I need to, spade and play it then. Remember as well, this actual battle pass will go along with the winter event they do every year, so you'll be doing winter event stuff alongside this if you're, going to do both. And that means that you can, maybe throw in some of your meta lineups to do some of these things, which might be a little bit easier to do. But the wins with Soviet vehicles is just going to be one of those that takes time, and using vehicles that you're comfortable in. 7.0 Soviets is pretty strong right now. That's a pretty nice lineup. 8.3 is also very strong. 9.3 and 9.0 are very strong lineups as well. Even 4.3 is always going to be a mega lineup for the Soviets. Like, all of those work very well in ground. In air realistic, stuff like the Ak-3P is always one I go for, which is really fun. In naval, they have some pretty good coastal stuff, like the armored patrol boats. They basically don't die, so you can play around those rank 3 and 4 ones in the coastal tech tree and just keep smacking people and doing a ton of damage. Maybe that's one to go for and have a bit of fun with. But yeah, this is just a time one, and it's going to be one of the more annoying ones because, getting 35 battles, I mean, if we average it, if you have a 50% win rate, that's 70 battles. That's a bit rough when it comes to the amount that you need. Then you've got an overall challenge again, Voracious Nymph, and what you've got to do here is finish the specified number of battles in each type of vehicle, aircraft, ground, and fleet. So this is 30 battles each. Now, what I would do is I'd actually do this in ground realistic and naval arcade or naval realistic, and the reason is because you can get the aircraft one done alongside the ground, or the aircraft one done alongside the naval one. So, if you finish a match in a plane, then it's going to count for a plane, right? So you can kind of do them alongside each other. Obviously, the easy way, or one of the ways to do it is, play 30 battles in each of the game modes, and I'm guessing get the certain amount of activity that it's going to require, probably 50 or 70%, which generally isn't too bad. But overall, this is still 90 battles in a, maybe 3-week period. That's going to be a little bit rough for some players. That's a lot of effort, unfortunately. So that is a little bit rough, but at the same time, it is something which is once again going to be during the going to be during the event for the winter. You know, it's basically slap bang in the middle of when the winter event is. So normally, if you're going for everything like I do, you're going to be doing that anyway. But if you're not, you're going to have to give some time to each of the game modes. I think challenges like this are probably the best because they're not hard to complete. They just take a bit of time and mean that you have to play different stuff, and I'm completely fine with that. And then another naval challenge, Bloodthirsty Piranha, and this is deal the specified amount of damage using a coastal vessel, and you need to do 30,000 damage. So 30,000 damage isn't that bad. It's probably going to take like a day to get through if you're playing properly. I would recommend the 3.0 American PT boat lineup. Those have ridiculously good firepower when it comes to dealing damage to other coastal vehicles. They struggle a little bit when it comes to killing destroyers, but generally you're away from the destroyers and they're also reserve ones, so they have a hard time killing you. Another nice option is obviously the high tier coastal stuff like the PR-35, for example, or the PR-159 for the Soviets, where you can just keep pumping out damage with those very fast-firing guns. Stuff like the 76mm work really well for challenges like this. I would probably go for the armored battle boats, though, for the Soviets, or I would go for the PT boats of America or Britain to get this challenge done. I don't think it'll be too hard to do. It's just one of those that, once again, takes time. You have 3 weeks, basically, to get 30,000 damage. That's not too hard. You just got to turn up, put in a little bit of time, maybe, I don't know, 10 battles for this. You know, 3k a battle is quite low for some people, so, like, that's all you got to do. Once again, this is an amphibious battle pass. There's going to be some naval challenges in it. Make sure to grind out lineups for naval. I don't want to see any complaining about playing naval. Just get it done. It's not hard to do. It's really, really simple. If you want, watch a TV show while you're doing it. You know how I play naval sometimes if I'm not streaming and talking to people? What I do is I just stick on a Netflix show. Just watch it while I'm playing it. I can do two things at once. It works perfectly. The next one is getting a specified number of one-shots. You need 15 of them in 3 weeks, which is quite easy to do. This is the Mighty Alligator challenge. And one-shot is one of those weird ones. So you think that one-shot means that you have to kill something in one shot. And that's not actually what the award is for. The award one-shot is actually destroying an enemy vehicle without a miss. So you could technically hit it 10 times, as long as you didn't miss the vehicle once, and it will count as a one-shot. So most of the time, you know, you are just going to one-shot a vehicle, so you're going to shoot it once and it's going to die. But if you need to take multiple shots, then you'll still get the award. So 15 of these, basically you have to cleanly kill 15 vehicles in 3 weeks. I think most people can do that, especially in ground. This in aircraft, you know, you're going to miss some shots unless you're using like large caliber stuff. In naval, you're definitely going to miss some shots. So ground is the way to go for this one, where you have, you know, clean kills much more often compared to other game modes. And the last timed challenge is Ferocious Bullshark, and it's win the specified number of battles whilst destroying at least 3 enemy vehicles in each battle. And you need 15 battles of this in 3 weeks. So you need 3 kills in 15 separate battles. Air Arcade and Ground Realistic and Naval Arcade is the way to do these ones. Those are the ones where people have more respawns, so getting more kills is much more easy. Obviously staying at the lower ranks, like rank 3, is going to be the easiest for doing these things, and you can also get your battle pass, your dailies and your specials done alongside of it, and with a 3-week period, 15 battles, that's, what, half of one a day. You should be able to get that. And as I said, Air Arcade is probably the easiest place to get this done, but I would say ground is not too hard either. Either one of those modes is going to work easily for this, and if you're struggling with it, just bring out your meta lineups and just, go ham. Then we get on to the season-long challenges once you actually unlock them in the Battle Pass itself. So the first one is Biting Spider, and it's destroy the specified number of vehicles that are at least 1.0 battle rating higher than your vehicle. 20 vehicles overall you have to take out. So you'll normally get this over time. There was actually a Battle Pass one which was similar to this in the past. And I realized, you get up to a decent amount at certain BRs, and I just ended up getting it without really realizing. Just getting, killing somebody who's 1.0 BR higher than me. Obviously, if you're playing like Air Arcade, or if you're playing Ground Realistic or Ground Arcade, you can vastly up to some of your vehicles to be able to get this. I don't think it's worth focusing on unless you're really near the end of the Battle Pass and you don't have it. I think it's actually much better to just kind of do it over time. I think the variance when it comes to BR spreads in War Thunder is enough for you to get this without even realizing. That's basically what happened to me over a few week period. But if you need to, if you need to up to yourself to get this done, it's unfortunately a challenge which promotes that, but you can get it done not too bad. There's a lot of vehicles that up tier pretty well in the game. Stuff like the SDKFZs are not too bad at it. Stuff with pretty good penetrating guns. Some of the additions that they're going to add to the game, so like the Weasels, they're going to be pretty decent in an up tier. And also AAs generally do pretty good in an up tier too, especially in arcade. So those would be the ones I would use personally if you're struggling with this. Haunting Hydrolycus is probably how you say that one. You need to receive the number of specified streaks, and it is 30 eye for an eyes. Now, if you don't know what eye for eye is, it's basically if somebody kills you, you kill them back. So revenge killing is probably the best way of putting it, or the easiest way of putting it, because sometimes you don't realize that you're doing it. The game modes where this works the best: Naval, Arcade, Air Arcade, and also Ground Realistic. And the reason for this is in Air Arcade, if somebody kills you, you know their name, you know where they are on the battlefield, their name is above their head, you can go after them straight away. In Air Realistic, you can't do that because, well, people normally don't spawn twice unless they get really, or unless they can get back with critical damage and still repair. Sometimes it counts as a crash, but obviously, that's a little bit rough. The Ground Realistic revenge bombing, once again, is something that happens quite a lot and kind of promoted by this one. So that is a way to be able to get this one done, and Naval is exactly the same. So if somebody kills you in your PT boat, you can pop into a plane and you can rat-a-tat-a-tat them, or, if you get donked by a destroyer or a cruiser, you can do the same thing. So that's pretty much how you do this one. Revenge killing is the thing to prioritize. I think you'll get a decent amount of Eye for Eye awards over time anyway, while doing this battle pass, but 30 is quite a lot when you think about it. So you might not be able to get 30, but you'll get close. So this is another one of those to check maybe a week or two before the end of the battle pass, just to see where you're at on it and then go from there. The next one is Cruel Arapaima, and you have to destroy 2 player vehicles in 15 seconds the specified number of times. And you have to do it 10 times. So this shouldn't actually be that hard, as long as you play either Ground Realistic or Air Arcade. In Ground Realistic, if you pop up on a flank, you can annihilate 2 people pretty quickly, as long as you have a pretty decent reload. In Air Arcade, you can head on 2 people, or you can get on 2 people in the furball pretty quickly. In Naval Arcade, also you can do this at. I'm pretty much thinking about modes where you can get kills quickly after one another. I suppose in Air Realistic, if you play the higher BRs, the Missile Thunder area, if you have good missiles, you can normally clock up to pretty quick kills in certain scenarios. But most of the time, Naval Arcade, Air Arcade, and Ground Realistic and Ground Arcade on flanks is going to be the way to go for this one. So it is only 10 times. It is over the whole season once you unlock it from the Battle Pass. So you have plenty of time to do this. You probably do this over time while doing the other challenges once again. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. And then the last challenge is just perfect predator, and you get it by completing all of the other season's challenges. I would actually say this set of challenges is one of the easiest that we've seen. There's no ridiculously hard ones here. There are ones which are a little bit specific, but nothing that really rings out as, oh god, how am I going to do this? The Survivor challenges were the ones which were like that, you know, or the Heavy Metal Heroes, or, you know, Hero of the Skies. Those ones ring out as, oh, how am I going to complete this? But these ones are pretty simple, a decent focus on the naval ones, and the naval ones are generally pretty easy. Some of them are going to be a little bit annoying, like getting the tank destroyer kills. The strike aircraft kills are going to be a little bit annoying too, but it shouldn't be too bad. It should be completely fine. Not too worried about this set of challenges. So if you have any more questions, make sure to check out the Twitch stream and ask, and I'll make sure to, well, I'll try and answer them the best to my ability. As always, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. I'd just like to thank Professor X 1718, Orange Tail, Sakoshi Tiger, BRFC 15, Teddy, John Ryman, Universe A, Eugens Terry, Ambrosius McClellan, Daniel Stanton, Martinez, B. Young, and then Kyle Kin, Barine, Lafouche, and also Samuel Slick for supporting the channel.